City of Gary Planning Commission meeting for Tuesday, August the 28th. Will please come to order. Director Kubitis, roll call, please.
President Cundiff.
Here.
Vice President Cook.
Here.
Reverend Emery.
Here.
Reverend Protho. David Schilling.
Here.
Councilman Brewer. Mr. Harper. Ms. Valerie.
Here.
Okay. We've got 3 absent.
Okay, so
3 absent, 4 present, so we have a quorum.
we have a quorum. We will, first of all, approve the minutes for February.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, this motion's been approved and seconded.
I'm sorry, we have 5 present. I'm bad at counting. We have 5 present and 3 absent.
Okay. All right, Director Kubitis, roll call on the approval of the minutes for February.
President Cundiff.
Here? Yes, brother.
Vice President Cook.
Yes. Here.
Reverend Emery.
Here. Yes.
David Schilling.
Yes.
Tony Valerie.
Yes.
All right, we got 5 approvals.
All right, the minutes from February has been approved and seconded. And we can move on into our first item on the agenda. And that is petition 18-03. And it's Transport Properties, LLC, Lee Companies, and petitioning to rezone 1500 to 1558 Colfax, 1576 to 1594 Colfax, 1500 to 1595 Wheeler Street, 1500 to 1595 Stevenson Street, 1501 to 1595 Hobart Street, and odd numbers only established a truck and trailer storage yard. And this is a petition to rezone. For anyone that can come forward and speak in behalf of this particular issue, please come forward, give your name.
Good evening, or good afternoon, Mr. President and board members. I'm Pat Lee, Lee Companies, 563 South Lake Street here in Gary, and I'm helping Transport Properties, represented here by its owner and president, Tim McCahill, to establish this truck and trailer storage yard on Colfax Street. And basically, I think you may have this. And basically, it's this corner of 15th and Colfax, which is now zoned R2. There's nothing there now. And we're proposing zoning of M2. And I'd like to introduce, as I said, Mr. Tim McCahill from Transport Properties to tell you a little bit about this project.
Thank you all very much for having me today. I appreciate the time. My name is Tim McCahill. I'm the president and founder of Transport Properties. We are a group that invests solely in transportation-related properties here in Northwest Indiana and all over the country. Our goal is to provide, trucking companies safe and secure places to park their trailers and containers while, controlling a very well-managed yard. It doesn't mean to say we're not going to go target single-tenant users like a Fortune 100 company, like a Roll Transportation across the street, a Schneider in the area, somebody along those lines. With how difficult trailer parking and container storage has become in certain demographics in certain places throughout the country, Gary has been extremely welcoming. With being right off I-80, Client Avenue is an incredibly great access point for truck parking and storage. And with 65 right there and 80, you can really get everywhere. So, as a truck broker, where I started my career, I brought several companies over the border, H&D Trucking being one of them, and several others that are in the process of looking right now to bring their business over the border to Indiana. they have kind of tasked me with helping them find yards and do stuff like this. So in the process of doing this, we started the business Transport Properties to, offer not only just the big guys with 350, 400 trucks parking spots, but we wanted to provide people that have 1, 5, 10, 20 trucks an opportunity that didn't have the capital to go and, buy these yards and improve them and go and entitle them. Basically opportunities to lease on month to year to 5-year basis, which is kind of how this project got its legs.
Any questions?
I have a
Mr.
question.
Schilling?
This is the first I've heard of container storage. How high will these containers be stacked?
We're not stacking containers. When I say containers, a lot of times there's containers on chassis. They look like trailers. We will not be trying to stack containers here, nor is that our desire to do so. But sometimes guys are intermodal drivers versus dry van trailers. People will store an intermodal trailer on a chassis the same as it would a trailer. There's really no difference in look. There's no difference in height. It's just sometimes the box is it's either a container or a dry van or a reefer. It's, there's no difference between them.
Okay, thank you.
Reverend, do you have any questions?
Question for clarity. Mr. Furrow, down on 29th and Bird, doesn't he have that property over to Colfax? So will there be any interruption with their project versus?
I don't think that there's any conflict. That sounds like it may be further up, 28th, because this is 15th.
29th,
to
you got
15th.
29th all the way over to Colfax, and I don't know how far back on Colfax does it go.
I'm not sure of that particular project, but I think it's been investigated. If so, we could have Director Kubitis to, give us more detail and explanation about the situation. But my concern is obviously there'll be security, fencing, and lighting and the sorts.
Correct. So we'll have full fencing around the entire property. Each entrance would have a keypad entry system that we're going to allow every tenant to have their own gate code. And in addition, we'll have a very high-end security system that any tenant that's in there could have access from their iPhone. So if a guy, is, an hour away or, at home at night, he can always look at his truck on the cameras. Additionally, the entire yard will be lit with LED lighting. So it'll be a very safe and secure yard. That's, one of the biggest bases of the project.
Alrighty.
So, let me ask you a question. So are these containers, is this what the tractor trailers are bringing in? They're like dropping off their loads? Is this the containers you're talking about? or-
Correct, yeah. So it'd be, a guy, there's a lot of different ways you can look at it. Somebody may rent 10 spots where they may have a company on the East Coast where they may come and drop the containers here, and then somebody comes and distributes them throughout the, the whole metro area. Then that person may go back. It really varies on every single user on what they'll be doing there, but a lot of it would be, somebody leaves to go drive for 5 days, they'll park their car in their spot, they'll leave, they'll come back on a Friday, have a safe and secure spot to leave their truck where they don't have to worry about, something happening to it.
And let me add to that, it's all one trailer line. There's no stacking of containers, and the only containers that Tim's talking about are containers that are put on trailers to be pulled by the semi.
And I will say 99% of the time containers stay in the intermodal yard, so this will be, I'd say a 95% chance this will just be the dry vans that you see, and a lot of the people that do container work, it'll just be a chassis parking spot, and chassis is just the actual engine portion of the truck. So most of the time if there's, we just say it in our verbiage is container, most of the time, high percent of the time it's the dry van, just the normal semi-trailer you see on the highway.
How many people do you think jobs will be generated with this project?
It really varies depending on the user. We engaged Pat Lee as our project manager for this project in hopes of, hiring people from Gary to help work on the project, which I know Pat is doing. We're going to hire a day-to-day property manager that's going to be overseeing the site, making sure it's secure, going through. That'll be a local Gary resident. And our hope is that we get a large national trucking company. We're doing this speculative. So we're going to do the one-off spots until maybe a large national carrier or somebody who's going to come around who needs the entire site for their use leases the property. And then in turn, that could be, You know, if you take HMD, for example, they're, you know, purchasing 11 acres. This is about that same size. We could potentially be bringing, you know, north of 300 jobs to Gary if, you know, if everything aligns.
How many trailers will this yard accommodate?
I believe 330 spots.
And then I think you have that?
I don't know that I received it, but I'll look through.
And from a traffic standpoint too, just to kind of alleviate any of those concerns, most of these people will leave on a Sunday or a Monday, and they don't come back until a Thursday or a Friday. So a lot of the times, most of these people are gone. The thing in trucking is whenever a yard's full, business is bad, and whenever a yard's empty, business is good. So ideally, we want the yard empty at most times.
I'm trying to figure out how is the traffic from the expressway, where would it come, and you,
It would come off Klein to 15th.
okay.
You know,
Because,
we wouldn't, I'd say very few, if any. My guess, the only way a truck would go the other way is if it was a resident parking here. I'd say 98% of the traffic would take 15th back to Klein.
Right. Because it's highly unlikely that you're going to have 300 trucks in there at any particular time.
Correct.
Or, you know, unless there's some kind of a backup on the expressway or something.
Exactly.
Shouldn't be any problems as far as traffic is concerned.
And if it's owner-operators, which we're predicting it will be now, everyone has completely different schedules, so it would never be exactly people backing up on the highway, you know, causing a big jam.
Right. Okay, any more questions, commissioners? We have a recommendation from staff? Or
Sure, I'll tell you about the responses that we received. So 13 notices were mailed to surrounding property owners. 4 were non-deliverable. 1 was opposed, 1 was in favor, and 8 did not respond. So I have some, the opposed and the in favor both submitted letters, so I will read those. The first is in favor. Dear City of Gary zoning planning officials, in regards to petition numbers PC 18-03, PC 18-04, and PC 18-05, the proposed use by Transport Properties LLC of the properties as a truck trailer storage yard is an appropriate use of the subject properties. Sincerely, Andy Young. The second was not in favor. And the letter reads, "Good morning, Ms. Pamela Perez. I, Francois Lubin / Caribbean Truck and Equipment." The address is 6533 West 15th Avenue, Gary, Indiana, 46406. I'm opposing to the petitioning of rezoning PC 18-03, PC 18-04, and PC 18-05. I am opposing due to the fact that I currently own the property next door and I want to purchase it to expand my business. There are previous records in the system that indicate that I have approached the redevelopment committee to purchase and rezone to expand my business. The committee then instructed that I needed to have the property appraised, and as a result, they would need to put the property up for auction. I followed through with the process and was stated by the City of Gary Redevelopment Commission that I was the highest bidder on February 1st, 2017. After the auction, Andy Young contested and stated that the auction's advertisement had a flaw. In return, my bid was voided. The property then went back to auction on April 4th, 2017. The City of Gary Redevelopment Commission stated that I was the high bidder and in fact the only bidder. Mr. Joe Van Dyke then stated that my lawyer at the time, David Bowles, needed to contact Commission Attorney Gilbert King to move forward with the process. To this day, nothing has transpired. Best regards, Francois Lubin. I have an additional memorandum from Gilbert King, who is the attorney to the Gary Redevelopment Commission addressing Mr. Lubin's concerns. So I'll read that as well, and then I'll be done reading. Okay. This is dated August 28th, 2018, to the Gary Redevelopment Commission from Gilbert King Jr., Commission Attorney. I have reviewed certain files provided to me to render this opinion on the above referenced property disposition. The Gary Redevelopment Commission sought proposals for development of the above referenced properties, that is commonly referred to as 15th and Colfax Street properties. The advertisement indicated that the real estate was to be used as the highest and best use to benefit economic development in the city of Gary. The proposals were to be received no later than 3 p.m. on Wednesday, April 5th, 2017. The notice indicated that the minimum sales price on the property was $300,000. Caribbean Trucking and Equipment Incorporated, 6533 West 15th Avenue, Gary, Indiana, 46406, proposes as follows. Bid amount of $300,000 is contingent upon approval of all city permits and rezoning, and a credit of $14,000 per acre for development and clearing of land to be able to utilize the land per the development plan. This proposal was deemed to be unresponsive because of the proposed credits. 73 credits times $14,000 equals $1,022. $1,022. Jeez Louise. $1,022,000. $2,200,000, geez, okay. The net result would be the commission giving a credit of paying the developer $722,000. From a practical point, this proposal was not deemed to be realistic or serious and rejected by the commission. After the passage of several months, negotiations started with Transport Properties, LLC, who proposed $315,000 for these 73 properties. The commission accepted this proposal as the most responsive, responsible, and highest bidder for these properties. The commission entered into a contract for the sale of these properties on or about January 19th, 2018. All of these letters are in your files, and they're in the public record. With all of this in mind, my recommendation is to approve.
All right, understanding that. Now, Mr. Lee, hey, for you guys to stand there. If you want to, you can sit down and come back up, but you're going to come right back up for the next proposal. But I want to go to the public, and I'd like to say that if there's anyone that wants to speak for this particular project, would you please come forward, give your name, address, and 3 minutes, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Francois Lubin. I own a company next door to this property named Caribbean Trucking and Equipment. I've been in this address for 20 years, since 1998. And I own 2 companies on that address. I own currently, give or take, 6 acres of land next door. To me, that's the property in question, which is 13 acres of land. This parcel has been there ever since I occupied my land. And one day I decided I want to own this land, so I approached redevelopment to let me buy the land. They said a certain thing must be done first. One of them is to have a appraisal. I did so. The second was the property has to go to auction. And then I followed the process like the lady stated for us. And supposedly I won it bad. The second one I wanted also. They said, okay, let's the lawyers talk. So to finish the process, because he has to go to the legal department. And my lawyer, David Ball, sent so many letters to Mr. King, never responded. In the meantime, this company is trying to buy me out. I say, I'm not selling. They offer me $500,000. I said, no, I don't want to sell because I have project. Right now, I am in the process of obtaining $8 million to have a project where I can have a barrel plant in Gary. And that's because I own a company that's called Komodo Energy Drink. It's an energy drink that's being manufactured right now in Arizona, and I can bring job to Gary. I'm approved. I'm going to get that money, and I'm intend to use this land for the purpose of developing the site, bring job to Gary, and make it happen. I can do it.
Mr. Rubin,
Yes,
maybe you didn't understand it, but I wanted to know if there was anyone that wanted to speak for
Oh, I oppose.
this particular project.
Oh, I thought you said oppose. Never, I'm sorry.
No, I want to speak for the project, and I'm sure if you're the person that's in reference to this memorandum, maybe you want to come up when I want to, ask if anyone speaks against it.
Okay.
But right now, I wanted to know if there was anyone that wanted to speak for the particular project, to please come forward. Seeing none, hearing none. If there's anyone that wants to speak against the particular project, so therefore you can go then and make sure you stay within the 3-minute confines, because, we really don't have all the details to go through.
Yes.
And maybe you may want to direct your...
I don't have to repeat what I've already stated. I would ask the panel to give me time. First of all, I never received any notice in the mail from Plan Commission, and I didn't have time to prepare myself for this event. Also, the second notice I found in the mail has the wrong date on it. I couldn't even, bring my attorney to speak on my behalf on this process. So I'm asking the panel to give me time to work with me to prove my case.
And your case is you feel as if
I want to purchase this property. I'm the one initially who put the property up for sale. That was my idea. I approached the development. I know what I wanted to do. Obviously, for somebody after, for some reason, didn't want me to have it. I don't know what happened. I don't have it anymore. I mean, the property's been, somebody supposedly in the process of buying it, and they never noticed me. They didn't do nothing. So I'm just trying to see what I can do.
well, your attorney, is your attorney Mr. King?
My attorney is David Bowles.
Okay, well,
Mr. King is the attorney for the redevelopment commission.
yeah, Mr. King is attorney for redevelopment, and this memo more or less explains about the bidding process, and, it seems that everything has been followed legally. I can't say one thing or the other, but we're here to move forward with what we have at hand, and that's the proposal to petition to change the zoning.
Which I'm opposed to, but I'm asking the panel to give me time. I don't have real legal representation. I wasn't noticed. I was giving the wrong date. I can prove it, and I'm asking to give me time.
I can only refer to the director here because he has more information than we have, and because of what we have here as far as legal specifications, we have to move forward with the proposal here.
As I look at this, his bid was contingent upon rezoning and a credit of $14,000 per acre. Was he asking for that?
Yes, he was asking for a credit, so the bid was a $300,000 purchase price, but then a credit from the Gary Redevelopment Commission, which is why Attorney King said that at the end of the day, the deal would have cost the Redevelopment Commission
$1 million
the net result.
or $722?
Yes, the net result would be the commission giving a credit or paying the developer $722,000.
Did you ever receive this correspondence?
I'm the one that was a proposition. That was a proposition. Therefore, I'm assuming whatever I'm asking redevelopment for the property, they would come back with me and say, hey, listen, we don't want this, we want that. Initially, I wanted to buy it, but they said, no, you can't buy it. So I proposed $300,000, and whatever I proposed, I never get a counter offer. And nobody ever said anything to me. And next thing I know, it's being sold to somebody else after I was asked to do everything that I did.
Does he understand what has been said here by attorneys?
I'm not sure what you're reading, sir. I don't have that paper in front of me. I don't know.
You want to pass down a copy? Can you pass it?
That's not accurate.
I'm sorry?
That's not accurate. $1,022,000. No, I never asked for that kind of credit from redevelopment. I know what it would cost to clean the land, do what I need to do. I purchased the property next door in that same shape. I did the work. That's not my number. I'm sorry.
Well, like I said, the petition, our commission here today is here to answer the petition to rezone the property. That's our mission.
And the 3 minutes has expired.
Excuse me.
Your 3 minutes to speak out have expired.
Thank you.
So know if, commissioners, are you familiar with that area? Because I've looked at it, and it's, I was really surprised to find that it was residential, but probably at some point, Gary was expecting to be expansive to that point, but it's all wooded, and we need to determine whether or not that property should be zoned as industrial or stay residential. That's our mission here.
So moved.
I second it.
All right, so it's been moved and seconded to rezone the property. Director Kubitis, roll call, please.
President Cundiff,
Yes.
Vice President Cook,
Yes.
Reverend Emery,
Yes.
David Schilling,
Yes.
Tony Valerie.
Yes.
It's 5-0. Motion
Okay,
passes.
so that aspect has been taken care of. That petition to rezone will move forward. Mr. Rubin, I'm thinking that you may have to go through legalities or the legal department or whatever to pursue your issue.
The redevelopment commission.
Right, redevelopment commission, so, okay. All right, so our next petition is 18-04, and that's Transport Properties again, LLC, Lee Companies petitioning to re-subdivide 1500, 1508, 1576, 1594, 1500 to 1595 Wheeler, and 1500 to 1595 Stevenson, 1501 to 1595 Hobart Street, and odd numbers only to establish a truck and trailer storage yard. This is a petition to re-subdivide that particular parcel. So again, it's an explanation from Mr. Lee and company.
I believe you have this in your packet, and this is the subdivision now consisting of 73 single-family home lots. And the petition is to re-subdivide that area, that property, into one lot. To eliminate the confusion and the 73 tax bills, and to make it more, to make it easier for everyone, the city, the developer, and the county to deal with this piece of property.
Okay, that's any more information in reference to that? That's pretty cut and dried. We've looked it over, and we can see if everyone has a copy to see what those parcels are. And it's a matter of, like he says, combining to make it easier to
As a point of order, I guess, wouldn't we need to vacate the right-of-ways first before we can approve them being absorbed into one lot via a replat?
That's a really good point. Yeah, we should probably do the vacation first.
Right, there's a petition to vacate, so if you want to, because I'm just going in the order that they were, we could,
Someone should probably move to reorder the petitions? Is that not necessary?
let's have a motion to move the order of the petitions here.
So moved.
So moved and seconded. So we'll go with petition 18-0-5. The petition is to Transport Properties, Lee Companies petition to vacate the unimproved Hobart Street and Stevenson Street between 15th Avenue and 17th Avenue, and unimproved 17th Avenue between Hobart and Colfax Streets, alleys 64, 65, and 66, 15th Avenue and 17th Avenue. Please, Mr. Lee.
Sure. I'm going to refer you to this exhibit again. And I think on the smaller ones that you have, they're actually highlighted in yellow. And Holder Street is the division between two pieces of property. And the lot that we're talking about would be half of Holder Street. And Mr. Lubin would get the other half. So it's beneficial for both owners. And then this street is, Wheeler Street is already vacated. And of course, we're asking for the vacation of this street. Now, in this process, we've met with all the city department heads to make sure that there were no issues with the city. Then we also met with all the utilities, and there still will be some utility easements in the area because they have installed utilities. But we have permissions in your packet from all the utilities and from the sanitary district to vacate these alley systems.
Yes, I see that. There's one issue with the 12-inch water main. Is that that's not going to interfere with anything, is it?
No, it won't. There'll be a dedicated easement to maintain it.
Okay. All right, everyone see that in their packets, or they understand that? What they're looking to vacate? Bill, you got this?
What is it looking for?
Should be one with the Gary Water Company.
That back here. Okay, thank you, sir. Let me ask you this. What is, if we vacate Homer, what is in block U2?
Right here, Ben.
Block
Block, which one, sir?
U2.
What?
As I look at this right here, same block.
Oh, okay.
And it's 12, it looks like a 12, block 12, sorry. about
Block
that.
12, that is Mr. Lubin's property.
All right, okay. So no homes will be affected, nothing like
No.
that? Okay. He gets half and you get half.
Correct.
And you said that, but I needed to.
Yeah, for
To see it right here.
Okay, I see that now.
Okay, any more questions, commissioners? And you're going to be seated until I whip back around to the petition. And we'll have
Want to do public comment?
Comments.
Public comment first, and then
public.
let's do public comment first.
Okay. All right, well, we'll ask the public if there's anyone in the public that wants to speak for this particular project. Please come forward and give your name, address, and 3 minutes, please. If there's anyone in the audience that wants to speak against this particular project, the vacationing, please come forward, give your name, address, and 3 minutes, please. We have the timer.
Good afternoon again. My name is Francois Lubin. I own the property next door. In fact, the alleyway that's the company's plan to vacate have been vacated. My fence is already in that Colfax street. I'm sorry, Hobart. So because when I purchased the property, I was 2002. I was putting a fence. James Craig, who was in charge of zoning, had asked me to move my fence 25 feet inside, so there would be an easement outside of 25 feet. In fact, they tell me I can take this property in the other side, the alleyway that was being vacated, and I was 30 feet, and I put my fence around it. That's been done since I purchased the property. Because in fact, my plan was eventually I will own the property next door. Because I know I had the first right of refusal. It's next door to me. I've done everything to this property for 18 years. So suddenly, somebody wants to get me out. And I'm asking the panel to consider that because I'm already have a fence there already.
Is the fence on the vacated street?
Yes, sir.
So it's located on the street. Have you all had an opportunity to look at that?
It's tough to tell right now because of the woods and there is no street there, so I just have to delineate where it currently is. We're probably unsure then, but I couldn't say for certain. But
Yeah, but like I said, when I was doing my fence, I checked with zoning. They allow me to put my fence in that property line because I give up the frontage of the property to make it pretty so it can clean up, have grass grow up, and that's what I did in Gary.
Well, not to create an argument or to engage in an argument, but what we have in front of you is the legal surveys. And we're only asking for legal recognition that Mr. Rubin would get half of that street as the adjacent neighbor, and we would get the other half. What you have in front of you are the legal recorded documents, and I don't want to even comment on Mr. Rubin's, because I'm sure that goes back and there could be misunderstandings or...
No, it wasn't a misunderstanding. I know from the very beginning when I owned this junkyard, what I will eventually redeveloped it. I've been in this place for...
Mr. Rubin,
Thank you.
Mr. Rubin, again, you may have to take that up with the redevelopment because we're here to just...
But yeah, I understand. I just want to state my facts to the panel.
Well,
At least
your three,
guys hear me.
just under following the rules, your 3 minutes is up, and we have to move on to other business here. But this is to vacate, and that's all we have the power to do here is to approve the vacationing.
But you don't have the power to disapprove? Does the panel can disapprove on any petition? I'm asking.
Is the fence on your property?
I'm sorry?
Is the fence on your property or is it in the vacant street?
I'm not sure, but I think it is. I think it is. It's in Hobart Street.
It is, if you look at
It's
this
already in my property. Yes.
it's represented, the fence is on
Yes, it is.
Hobart Street. And I guess the question is, have you had an opportunity to look at this?
I've looked at it, observed it as much as possible because it's a wooded area. You can't go into it. I've looked at it from the street level. Have you?
The official
Anybody?
Alta survey shows where the fence is, which is on the east path of Hobart Street. Just a clarification.
What do we,
Well, it shows here that the fence is on Hobart Street.
Correct, ma'am.
Hobart Street is not your property,
It's vacated.
it's vacated.
Yes.
Okay,
I improved it. It's unimproved. It's improved now. It's improved because I put the fence beyond it and I cleaned it up, and that was always the plan for me to own the rest of the property.
Okay, Mr. Rubin, now you could be seated, sir.
Thank you.
And we'll move forward to due diligence to approve if that should be vacated.
13 notices were mailed to surrounding neighbors. 13 notices were mailed, 4 were non-deliverable. 1 was opposed, Mr. Lubin, whose letter we've already heard. 1 was in favor, Mr. Young's letter, who we've already heard. And 7, there were no response. With that in mind, staff recommendation is to approve.
Okay, staff has recommended approval. Any more questions? Okay. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Director Kubitis?
President Cundiff,
Yes?
Vice President Cook,
Yes.
Reverend Emery,
Yes.
David Schilling,
Yes.
Tony Valerie,
Yes.
5-0. Motion
Okay,
passes.
it's been approved and seconded, and we'll move on to the next proposal, which was the proposal to re-subdivide, and that's petition 18-04, Transport Properties of Lee petition to re-subdivide 1500 to 1558 Colfax, 1576 to 1594 Colfax Street, 1500 to 1595 Wheeler, and 1500 to 1595 Stevenson Street, 1501 to 1595 Holbert Street, and odd numbers only to establish a truck and trailer storage yard. Please come forward, give your name.
Thank you, it's us again. And this is the resulting lot, and all of that property is combined into one lot. And it's, you know, it's pretty straightforward. We're ready to answer any questions.
Okay. So we're...
What is the story of the not included parcel?
That seller does not want to engage and doesn't want to sell. And so we're going around at this point.
Thank you.
That, interestingly, that property is owned by Mr. Young. So he's by Andy Young, and he's pro this project, but for some reason doesn't want to sell that little piece. And we've approached him, we've asked him, and made offers, and he doesn't even consider an offer. He just says that he says he's too busy right now to consider it, and he knows we've sent him these drawings and these layouts, and
He said once we go too far, we can't go back, and it's not really changing his direction.
Thank you.
Okay, gentlemen. So we can, any questions? And again, if there are any questions in reference to this, Mr. Schilling, you brought up the fact about the little parcel. Is that satisfactory, the explanation?
Yes, I'm satisfied with the answer.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else? Okay, again, I'll ask the public, if there's anyone in the public that wants to come forward and speak for this particular project, please come forward, give your name, address, 3 minutes, please. And again, if there's anyone who wants to speak against this particular project, you're for or against?
Good afternoon, Planning Commission. My name is Mrs. Blair, and I reside here in Gary, Indiana, in the 6th District. I actually came down on another issue today, but listening to the petitioners today, I did have a couple of questions, if that's okay to ask. Is that okay to ask?
Yeah, in reference to this
Yes.
project? Yeah.
Okay. My question is when you subdivide a property, well, currently it's residential property, correct? And when you subdivide it, there's a cost associated with that, is that correct? When you subdivide?
to re-subdivide, there is a cost associated.
Yes, okay. So my question is, what is the duration in terms of the term of your business that you're going to be there, your transport business?
Our hope is for forever. I mean, our goal with this company is to basically create properties located all throughout the country where companies can, store trailers, transfer trailers. The goal is forever.
Okay. In the event that it's not, and the reason I'm asking Planning Commission is because I'm a GC, so I do residential. And knowing that, if you're petitioning to make this lot one lot from residential, then God forbid, your company does not last as long as you anticipate, then a developer that come behind you would then have to rezone it and subdivide it at a cost, correct?
I don't
So
know
my
if they could
question to the,
I don't know if they would be able to rezone it once the, it's been approved and rezoned already.
okay, well, what happens when a developer comes behind and want to purchase that property and
they-
then put it back to residential?
They would have to go with what the zoning is at that point in time, and it's been zoned now to be manufacturing, so that they couldn't revert back to residential.
It couldn't revert back.
I don't think so. Is
They
that
would
right?
they would have to have it rezoned.
They would have to go back through the rezoning process. Okay. As a concerned contractor, is there any way, or what is the procedure? What would be the procedure to ask the zoning and/or planning commission when we have businesses that come in and they're taking residential and putting it into one particular lot, what process can we do where it's not have to be, where it will revert back to residential? Because there are developers like myself that still want to develop within our city. So that would be actually a pain in our side to do that, because you're taking so much residential land away for housing.
I won't get into
Can you look
that
at-
because this might be the wrong place to talk about that, but I think that there's plenty of residential
Okay.
possibilities and prospects. That area, if you know it, has, I was shocked to find out that it was residential because of so much
So much
trucking and
commercial
industrial
there.
that's surrounding it. So I don't know who would want to come in and do residential with that.
Okay, it was just a question in terms of futuristic, in case this company is not there as long as they anticipate to be there.
Okay, we
Okay.
understand your petition. So you're speaking for or against? I didn't really.
I'm for the project.
Okay.
I was just concerned as to what would be the procedure that a developer would have to go through if their company does not last it as long as they
Yeah,
anticipate.
I understand what you're saying, but, from my perspective, and especially with the way the trucking and the way that the world is going today, and the way
Right.
this country's going with the trucking situation.
And quickly, if I may, Planning Commission, the second question is just what type of fencing are they going to put up around their perimeter?
They could probably give an explanation of that.
We're going to do,
Okay, thank you.
You can
Thank you.
respond.
We're going to probably put up about whatever the zone states to start, but it'd probably be 6 to 8 feet chain link fence with barbed wire. It'd be a very nice new fence. Just something that's see-through. The point of the see-through yard for trucking is you want people on the street to kind of have access and visibility in the yard, for security purposes, and for police who are driving by, if anything's going on, they can see through. Normal just chain link fence with barbed wire.
And just one question briefly, because we talked about this before when they dealt with the trucking issue. Are there going to be any idling in that particular area?
The only idling would be is when someone starts the truck to leave and go. I mean, nobody would be leaving their trucks on 24 hours. It's not that kind of yard.
All right, understood. Okay. Anybody that wants to speak against this particular project, please come forward. Give your name and address, 3 minutes, please. That's against the re-subdividing. Okay, Ms. Cook.
I have a question relative to fencing. I've seen truck fences put up whereas they don't allow you to see in and all of that. Is that not something that could be entertained, for aesthetic?
We could definitely entertain something if that's something the city would prefer. We have to check.
Microphone, please.
That's something that can definitely be entertained, if that's something the city would prefer. I mean, the way we've always seen it in the yards we currently own, we like them open just for security purposes, for passing by cars, but if the city would prefer otherwise, because we will have cameras in there, we can talk about it. It is a factor of cost, of course, because there'd be a big cost variance, my guess would be. We're already planning to spend over $1 million on the yard to get everything ready to go, in addition to the purchase price.
Well, I'm thinking at least along the 15th Avenue side, you know, not necessarily on the streets, north-south streets, but along the 15th Avenue coming through there. It might add a nice touch. I've seen that at other truck yards, and it kind of,
It's definitely something we can look.
Blight, but I would say, you know, it just, fences look nice, you know. For sure.
Yeah, and Tim, what Mr. Cook is talking about is just the 15th Avenue frontage.
Okay.
And that there's already plans for very nice landscaping around. And I think that they're a very responsible company. I think they would definitely entertain that kind of fence that would.
That, or if maybe we did landscaping where we planted evergreens on the outside, something that, you know, you would all support. I mean, we're open to working with you, for sure.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Okay, moving forward, seeing none and hearing none, speaking against, we've gotten recommendations from staff. And if we...
I have not done my recommendation.
staff?
Not for this one. Okay. Apologies for the deja vu. It's the same as all the others. There were 13 notices mailed out. 4 were not deliverable, 1 was opposed, and 1 was in favor. I've already read both of those letters in opposition and in favor. With all of this in mind, staff recommendation is to approve.
Okay, we've gotten a recommendation from staff to approve. If someone would give up a motion.
How soon construction by Ms. Griffin?
Excuse me?
How soon will the construction begin?
Gentlemen, there's a question in reference to...
For this fall.
Construction will begin this fall. Also, the petitioner has not come before site plan review, and I just want to state that when the petitioner does come through site plan review, that's when we can kind of get into the details of landscaping and fencing and those types of things. So we'll be sure, I'll be sure to personally address the board's comments during that meeting.
Okay, I think we had a motion.
I have a motion to approve.
Okay, motion approved. Is a motion is seconded. Director Kavidas, roll call, please.
President Cundiff,
Yes.
Vice President Cook,
Yes.
Reverend Emery,
Yes.
Dave Schilling,
Yes.
Tony Valerie,
Yes.
5-0, motion passes.
Okay, it's been approved. Gentlemen, appreciate your detailed information. Anything else that you need to deal with, you'll go through. I don't know if
You will
have
have
go
to come before City Council, and we'll be in touch to give you those dates and that information. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, we can go to the, there's no petition number for this, even though it's a petition.
Yeah, because it's street signs don't get the petition, so.
Okay, so it was the various members of Greater Jerusalem First Gospel Church are petitioning to rename Harrison Street from 13th to 15th Avenue in reference to Pastor Charles McWilliams Drive. Would you please come forward, give your name, and explain the project?
Good evening. I am co-pastor Marilyn Wynn, and I'm here along with a portion of the membership of Greater New Jerusalem Full Gospel Church. We have our emeritus chief deacon, chairman of the deacon board with us, along with our financial secretary and 2 of the membership body. I just want to start out by saying that we're petitioning to get an honorary sign namely Pastor Charles McWilliams Drive, in honor of him and his memory and legacy that he's left here in the city of Gary. He has footprints all over the city in all districts. Pastor McWilliams was a great humanitarian, and he was a friend to everyone. In the district where the church is located, which is the 4th district, the church has, with his assistance, has purchased 2 homes there, which he had the homes designed and in mind with the membership to teach them how to become homeowners. Right now, we do have a pastor, which is his daughter, that's residing in one of the homes, along with one of the members that is residing in the other homes. Pastor McWilliams has also purchased other homes in different districts of our city, namely the 3rd district, where he has 3 homes that were purchased, and in the 1st district, where there is 1 home, and then also in the I believe it's the 5th district, there are 3+ homes. Total home ownership through the aids of Pastor McWilliams and along with Greater New Jerusalem Full Gospel are 8 houses plus, and still yet counting, along with a church which is located on 11th Avenue, right across from the projects. I don't forget the project's name. However, we're here just to pay tribute to his honor with the footprints that he has left in Gary, and also we're going to have a couple to come up. We're going to ask if our secretary come up and he can give you a report on the lead work that we had done, letting you know how many houses are in the area. And our petition is for 13th and Harrison, from 13th to 15th and Harrison, and that would be Darrell Thomas.
Okay, just give us some detail as to, first of all, we'd like to know, have you petitioned the neighborhood and find out how many people we have that is for or against that?
Yes, and Darrell, he has all that information, and he's going to give it to you.
All right, thank you.
Good afternoon to the committee. We noted that during our canvassing, we noted that there's approximately 25 structures within this segment, of which 8 structures were uninhabitable or abandoned, and 1 structure being the church, which left about 16 homes to visit. Upon visiting these 16 homes, we obtained about 9 signatures from those who were at home at the time that we did the canvassing. And then there were some that, were not at home at all. And it is, again, our sincere hope that the committee would honor our request for renaming in Pastor McWilliams' honor.
What's the address of your church?
The address of the church is 1310 Harrison Street.
Okay, well, we appreciate the information you've given, and I think that the city planner can give you more detail about, the fact that you'd have to pay for this signage if, in fact, it's approved. And now, out of those canvassing, did you get approvals? You said you had? Yes. Okay, you got the majority of approvals then? Okay.
I do. Where I believe it should be in your packet. There were several pages of signatures in favor of this petition of both residents in the area and congregants of the church. I'm going to ask Dave Schilling, have they been to Board of Works? Has this matter gone in front of Board of Works? Do you know?
That I'm aware of.
Okay. I think it has to go. I think we have to approve it, and then it goes on to the Board of Works agenda. Board of Works is the one who will ultimately put up the sign, and you will have to pay for the signs, and you're aware of that cost?
Yes.
As long as the petitioner is aware of the cost, my recommendation would be to approve.
Okay, you may be seated. Is there anyone in the audience that wants to speak for this particular project? Come forward, give your name, address. 3 minutes, please. I think you've all come forward. Anyone that wants to speak against? Are you speaking forward, sir?
Speaking forward, yeah.
Okay, come forward.
Deacon Robinson, my name. She forgot to mention also that there's 2 lots also right there at the church that we purchased also. Then where we have our picnic areas and stuff at too. And there's also a shelter in one of those lots, empty lots also. And he did a great work, Pastor Mike Williams, before he passed away in February. So I see a lot of churches that went through the same thing. They got the honorary name for their pastor there, so we deserve the same thing for my pastor, because he's my pastor. He left a great legacy also.
All right, appreciate that. Is there anyone that wants to speak against this particular project? Would you please come forward, give your name, address, and 3 minutes, please. Seeing none and hearing none, and we've heard from staff as to their recommendations. And I will say to Reverend Emery, if you have any comment.
President Condon, before I make the motion, I would like to verify that Charles McWilliams was a great leader in the community, and at one time he was owning probably 200 or 300 plots of land, and I think he gave a lot of land back to the city because He had nothing to do with it. He had purchased a whole lot of land, and so he just gave a lot of it back to the community.
You got to pay taxes on it if you can't develop it, yeah.
So I would make a motion that we do grant them the privilege to label the street from 13th and Harrison to 15th and Harrison in honor of Charles McWilliams.
I second the motion.
Okay, it's been motioned and seconded. Director Cobitis, roll call, please.
President Pendiff,
Yes.
Vice President Cook,
Yes.
Reverend Emery,
Yes.
Dave Schilling,
Yes.
Tony Valerie,
Yes.
5-0, motion passes.
Okay, you have it there, you have it, and you know that from this point on, like she said, we have to go through the Board of Works, and you understand the process, but you've gotten the approval from the Plan Commission, and so congratulations. And if there is, that seems to be it, there's nothing else.
That's all on the agenda.
Okay, that's all on the agenda, so if there's a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we will adjourn. That will do it.